Now let's get ready for the first quiz on trigonometric ratios and angles. So this particular video is extremely important for you to get all the concepts together, and then I'll expect you to sit down and answer 15 questions in a row so that you are well prepared for your first quiz on trigonometric ratios and angles. So things to remember for us are these which I've listed right there. We'll just go through them one by one. So the first one is to understand angles, right, which is principal angle, acute angle, coterminal angles in standard position. And then we will talk about basic trigonometric ratios, that is sine theta, cosine theta, and tangent theta. And then reciprocal of these ratios, which is cosecant theta, secant theta, and cotangent theta. And then we'll worry about the values of these trigonometric ratios and a simple and most useful rule which we learned, the cost rule. Okay, so we'll talk about all this in just less than 5 minutes and then take up the test. Now first, talking about principal, acute angle and all, let's make our coordinate system. That will help us to understand all the things, right? So let's say that we have, this is the initial arm, so it is always assumed along the x-axis, and then that's the terminal arm, right? Now once we have an angle like this on a coordinate system, that is called standard position. So that is the meaning of standard position. Okay, so when you have this, then we always measure angle which is counterclockwise taken positive, and this angle is called principal angle. Principal angle could be between 0 to 180 degrees, correct? It's always positive, it's less than 360 degrees, less than equal to, and more than equal to 0 degrees. It's always counterclockwise, correct? Now the second term was related acute angle. Acute angle is measured with the horizontal. It's between 0 to 90 degrees. It's always positive. So in this case, that is the related acute angle. We normally refer it as alpha, or we can write this as theta A. Okay. Then coterminal angles. Coterminal angles are the angles which you can start and go clockwise or counterclockwise, either way. But the idea is that start from positive x-axis and terminate on the terminal arm. So this is initial arm, right? This is initial arm, and let me write initial here. And that's the terminal arm. So the idea is to terminate on the terminal arm. So you could go like this. So principal angle is also a coterminal angle, and then you can go like this, the negative, that is in this case 180 minus alpha will be coterminal angle. So in general, the coterminal angle, let me say, or you could go more than one circle. That means you go like this, one circle, right, and then you again go, and that is the coterminal angle. So that ways you can get many coterminal angles. So we say theta c in general is equals to the principal angle. You can add 360 degrees, you can add multiples of 360 degrees, or you can subtract multiples of 360 degrees, right? So all those combinations could give you all the coterminal angles, where n belongs to set of whole numbers, right? So n, you can say, if I write only plus, I can say n belongs to integers. That means z, right? Or sometimes we write I for integers. So that is how we can get all the coterminal angles. So I think we have understood the first part. Now let's move on to basic trigonometric ratios. So for basic trigonometric ratios, remember SOHCAHTOA, right? So we have SOHCAH is defining sine for you, opposite over hypotenuse, and then we can have cosine, which I'll write in green this time, is adjacent over hypotenuse, or we could have tangent, right? So tan, let me write in black here, tan is opposite over adjacent, right? So SOHCAHTOA, that means cosine and tangent, right? So we are talking about sine here, so we say sine theta, we say cos theta, and this is tan theta, okay? All are written in lowercase. When we say reciprocal of these angles, then we say 1 over sine. 1 over sine is cosecant theta, 1 over cos is secant theta, and 1 over tan is cotangent theta, right? So that's the reciprocal. Now values of these angles. Now when we are considering values of these angles, then the critical values we really are interested in are basically 0 degrees. So let me write down the values we are normally looking forward to. So we have standard triangles, which gives us the values. So the standard triangles, the values will be 0 degrees, 30 degrees, 45 degrees, 60 degrees, and 90 degrees. Okay. So we have 0 degrees, 30 degrees, 45 degrees, and then we have 60 degrees and 90 degrees. Correct. Now for sine, let me give you these values: sine theta and cos theta. And you should remember, what is tan theta? Tan theta is ratio of sine over cos, correct? So that is another way. So whenever, if you know sine cosine theta, you can always find cos tan theta, right? So we will write tan theta also, but tan theta is basically, we'll write here tan theta equals to sine theta over cos theta, right? So if you know sine theta, then you know tan theta also. Now there is a quick way of remembering all these values. So I'll write down those values for sine theta. So you can do square root of 0 over 4 to get the value for this, square root of 1 over 4 for sine of 30 degrees, square root of 2 over 4 to get sine of 45 degrees, square root of 3 over 4 to get the value of 60 degrees, and square root of 4 over 4 for 90 degrees. That's a quick way of remembering these values, correct? You can simplify these to get exact values which you are so conversant with. But apart from this, I'll remind you of our standard triangles. So that I recommend, just draw your standard triangles, wedges, 45 degrees triangles, right? So we'll make one wedges 45 degrees triangle, and the other one will make equilateral triangle, correct? So these two triangles always help us to find the values of sine, cosine, right? So in 45 degrees, you can take these two sides are equal. So if y sides are 1 and 1, this will be square root of 2, correct? So that is the angle theta we're talking about. Now for a 60, 90, 30 triangle, that's a 60, 30, 90 triangle, right? So I'm making it right here. If this side is 2, this is 1, and this is square root of 3. So you can use these triangles to find all the values and figure it out, right? That is how it is. Now cost rule. As far as the cost rule is concerned, we say cost rule is this, C-A-S-T. So all are positive in quadrant 1, correct? All are positive in quadrant 1. So remember that. Since x and y are positive, right? Any point coordinates are positive. In quadrant 2, sine is positive. In quadrant 3, tan is positive. T stands for tan. And in quadrant 4, cosine is positive. All of the trigonometric basic ratios are negative, right? So that is how we can use the cost rule to figure out in which quadrant what is positive, right? I hope this sheet helps you, and you do this work yourself to figure out what is 1 over 4 square root. It is half, right? It is half, 30 degrees. So 30 degrees for sine is 1 over 2. Do you get that? Half, right? Now if you do this, 2 over this, that means 1 over square root 2, right? 45 degrees. Sine of 45 degrees is, if you see this angle, 1 over square root 2. So that is what you get here, correct? Now 60 degrees, sine of 60 degrees is square root 3 over 2, right? So square root 4 is basically 2, correct? So you get this. Sine of 90 degrees is 1. Do you see that? So basically, when you write these rules, you can calculate and you'll find this is equal to 0, right? And 1 over this is equal to half. And this 2 and 2 cancels. So you get 1 over square root 2 in this case. In this case, you get square root 3 over 2, and here you get 1. So these are your values which you can check with the help of a triangle, correct? So that's the easy way of doing it. And when you have to find what is cosine, you write them in reverse order. That means you write 0 here, okay, then half here, and then 1 over square root 2 remains the same place, and 60 degrees, that comes here, which is square root 3 over 2, and the 1 comes here. So reverse the order. So 0, half, 1 over square root 2, square root 3 over 2, and 1, and then flip the order, right? So this goes there, then half. Yeah. interchange. And what is tan theta? From here, tan theta is the ratio of sine over cos, correct? So what we will do now is we'll just divide to get tan theta. So when you divide 0 by 1, what do you get? You just get 0, right? When you divide half, 2 cancels, you get square root 1 over square root 3, right? So that is what you get for 60 degrees, 1 over square root 3. When you divide 1 over square root 2 by 1 over square root 2, you get 1. And when you divide square root 3 over 2 divided by half, you get square root 3. And 1 divided by 0 does not exist, right? So it is infinity, or we say does not exist, infinite, correct? So that is how you can get the values. So this table is kind of helpful to remember, but I like you to use the triangles. That's visual concept. You don't have to even remember anything, correct? So, well, some students do use this, therefore I've drawn this for you. Correct. Now I think you're absolutely ready to take the test. So you need to read the question, pause the video, solve the question, and then look into my suggestion. That is the best way to actually prepare for the test. I'll remind you a couple of times during the test preparation also. All the best, and I hope and wish that you do extremely well in your exam. Thank you.